Welcome back, everybody. In this one, we should end up being pretty free to basically do whatever we want for the remainder of our time playing Minecraft, so we'll be pretty well protected and we should have some decent stuff. And the way in which we can feel a little bit less threatened is by getting some iron. The first thing we need is a shield, which basically when we crouch will allow us to block attacks. Of particular importance, we'll be able to block the arrows from skeletons and the explosions from the green creepers that you'll see crawling around, which if you've been out there and having contact with them can give you a little bit of trouble. The thing that we want to do to be able to reach iron is we actually want to continue digging down. This is why I said we want to have a couple of days worth of just gathering wood, so we've got plenty of charcoal, and so that we can make plenty of ladders, which I'm going to do now. And I recommend bringing along enough ladders to get to Y level 10. We may end up having enough iron before then, but Y level 10, that's what we're looking to reach to, as that is where the most iron will spawn when we do what is called strip mining. Now, we're not going to get all of it through strip mining, so if you're following along, you've played the game before, don't worry, there is, I know, a quicker way when we get into caves, but I want to make sure that we have a shield and maybe just a couple of basic bits of armor before we do that. We're going to continue our way down here, so we're just going to mine on down. When I say my Y level 10, what you should notice in the top left corner is that we actually have coordinates that move, right? And this is the same as if you're looking at a graph or a map. The far left number, that is the X coordinate. The center number is your Y coordinate, which is basically how high you are. So you can see if I jump, that actually goes up and down. And then the right number is the Z coordinates, which is basically kind of like your longitude, latitude. So we don't really want to go past 10. If you do come across copper, it's up to you if you want to mine this stuff up. This is an ore. You can smelt it into ingots. And I do sometimes find that iron does appear near it. So this is okay to mine and can be a decent way to start storing experience later on. I'm probably not going to bother with it too much right now, but I just kind of wanted to point that out as we were going past it. And of course, if you do mine something out, make sure that you continue your laddered wall down, because we don't want to get stuck down here as we continue our descent. Now, I'm not entirely sure if we will come across a cave here. If you pop a block like this and suddenly there's like a huge drop, obviously don't go jumping down, it's going to be pretty bad for you. Just instead of going down, go back up 3 or 4 blocks and then start going across instead. Just do the strip mining part of this video a little bit early. It just means it might take you slightly longer to find some iron. It's not really going to be that much of an issue if that's something that you have to do. And there we have it. As if by magic, I have some iron. So if you have used the same seed as me, you could in fact use my coordinates and you should find that there's iron in a similar place for you. I'm going to continue going all the way down though, because I do want to show the strip mining portion of the video. Oh look, we got some more as well. So as you can see, as we get lower, it starts becoming more common. I'm at Y15 now, and the way strip mining works, you've got a couple of methods for this. I'm going to go ahead and just make myself a little bit of a base area just so that I can create another crafting table. Tons of loot down here. We've got coal spawning and everything. All right then, so there are a couple of ways you can go about this. You can either create yourself some trapdoors. This is going to allow you to move a bit faster in theory, okay? So if we go ahead and we break this block right here, and then we do this is going to make us crawl, okay? And the reason this is faster is because when we break a block like this, we are uncovering all of the sides of that block, right? Apart from one. So that's going to be 5 blocks we are uncovering. Okay? So a lot of people will call this a faster way to strip mine. Obviously, place yourself a torch every now and then, simply because you're able to crawl through more blocks at a faster rate. And then once you've got all the blocks that you want, you can just kind of head on back out. I personally don't like doing it that way. I like to create myself a walkway, so I would much rather do a 2-high mine. It's only going to be slightly slower and just feels better to me to do it this way. Now, I'm going to go forward 50 blocks here, just so that you guys can see how you start creating legs in this, so that you don't have to keep on just going in a single direction all of the way. Of course, you are going to come across lots of different stuff. This is a geode right now. We'll talk about these in a different video. Kind of nice, actually, but we will we'll talk about that when it's a bit more relevant to what we're doing at the time. In this direction, and let's just say you don't want to keep on going in a straight line for whatever reason. Let's say your inventory is filled up or your tools are all broken, so maybe you're going to head back to craft some more stuff. Let's go do that. Let's go craft some extra pickaxes and drop off some of the valuables. Obviously, we want to be keeping hold of coal. Blocks of amethyst are quite nice to keep hold of as well, so we're just going to go ahead, empty things out like this, and then we might decide, you know what, yeah, we can definitely go again. Let's get some more pickaxes on the go, and then we'll go off to mine again. Now, rather than just going in a straight line, now this kind of gets in the way a little bit, but it's not too bad. Once you're in your kind of straight part of the mine right here, instead of just going back to the end, right, and potentially going thousands of blocks in the same direction and having to keep on going further and further and further, what I recommend doing is turning to the side, and then we're going to go this way. Now, we're not going to turn this into a maze, so I wouldn't recommend going this way and then turning this way, for example. So we'll have this be like the main corridor, as it were, and then we'll spur off. And you can decide how far you want to spur off as much as you like. Some people like to do it in different ways. Like some people like to go on the edge of a chunk. Now, chunks are 16 by 16 areas that are within Minecraft. I don't know if there's any validity to it, but the superstition is that if you go along the edge of a chunk, you'll find more loot. So that's what I'm going to do here. And then basically what you'll do is, once you've kind of finished with this one, you'll come back out this way. And rather than going straight across, what I like to do is I like to go across by 2 and then make another one here. This way, instead of getting lost or missing this turning, because if you make it so that it's like straight across like this and you're sprinting back, you can very easily miss the turning and end up not being able to get back out very easily. So I like to dogleg them around like this, so it's a little bit nice and easy. I'm going to go do another 50 blocks in this direction. Lo and behold, the superstition comes correct. Look, we have iron right here, which is nice. And then just because I said I'd do 50 this way, I'm going to do dogleg, and I'm going to do 50 in the other direction as well, just so that I've completed one almost little part of doing what we would call a strip mine. So we're going to go 50 in this direction as well. And lo and behold, we're not even on the corner of a block, so this has nothing to do with superstition. It's just simply a matter of numbers. We have even more iron. And then not so far ahead again, we get even more iron, so it's rolling in rather nicely for us right now, actually. And I must just be having a look at something, because we've still not even gotten to 50 blocks on this single leg yet, and even more iron right here. Okay, and so there we have it. That's around 50 done. That is my little strip mining guide finished. Now, I want to find a bit like... I should be able to demonstrate it here, right? So, if you do happen to find iron in the ceiling or anything that you want in the ceiling, do not stand directly underneath whilst you are mining a block. This is because of this stuff. This is gravel. It's actually kind of worth to get some of this, because this can turn into flint and is actually necessary for some parts of the game. Now, you've probably seen it happen already, but when you knock one of these blocks out, because this is like a loose block, this will actually fall down. And if it falls on you, it's actually going to do damage, and if a lot of it falls on you and you can't kind of get out of it, you're going to suffocate, die, and lose all of your stuff. So avoid having that fall on you by not directly mining upwards. This can also be bad in other situations, like once we get lower into the world, there'll be lava, and you really don't want to get burnt by lava. So try not to be underneath anything whilst you're mining the block. And if you do happen to come across a geode, try not to break these blocks. These blocks are actually special because they continue to grow this stuff, which allows us to generate more of the purple blocks and do all sorts of other cool stuff as well. So these are worth knowing where they are. I'm probably going to completely forget about this one because we'll be going to a different spot later on, but just so that you guys are aware of that. All right then, we have managed to get quite a bit of nice loot here, but you might be wondering, we've gotten the raw iron and we're not actually able to craft anything new. Well, that's because we actually need to process that iron. We need to go and smelt it. So we're going to head on back to the furnace. I feel like I only touched on this a little bit in the previous episode, but I don't think I'm going to go through... Whoa! That was close. I don't think I'm going to go through every single thing that can and can't be smelted, but basically if it's an ore, it can probably be smelted. Why can't I get off? I have made this rather dangerous, haven't I? Make sure you've got enough space to get off the ladder, otherwise you're going to struggle. So we're going to go ahead, and because iron is a smeltable block, we're going to go ahead, we're going to put that in there, I'm going to let that cook, okay? Because I have 2 smelters, I'm going to go ahead. They're not smelters, these are actually furnaces. You can in fact get a blast furnace. This will smelt ore faster, but I prefer just to have normal furnaces so then I don't have to kind of manage between ore and food blocks. I'm too lazy for that, so I'll just leave that to smelt for a few minutes. All right then, after a small amount of time, and obviously you guys are free to go ahead, like chop some trees down, do anything else that you want to do that's productive. I've also just been sat here waiting for this, so we can get straight on with the next part of the video without things jumping around too much. Now that we have some iron, there are some important things that we can go ahead and craft. I'm going to craft a few things, but then other things that you could be crafting, I'm not going to craft because I want to take you guys through something else before I start getting like fully decked out. First up, we want to make some wood, because that's going to allow us to make a shield. This is probably the most important thing that we want to have. Okay, it's nighttime above us already, so I can go and demonstrate this without having any armor on. So if we come on up here, I guess everything's going down. Bad timing. The nighttime has finished, unfortunately. Okay, it's fine. We're going to go do some caving anyway. But what I recommend is having enough to get the shield and the chest piece of iron armor on. This is going to give you some protection, so when we do take damage, it'll be reduced. And now if we crouch, we'll actually be blocking, which means we'll be able to avoid taking damage. Like I said before, before, there are other things that we want to build. In particular, a bucket is pretty big, and there are a couple of other bits and bobs we're going to grab as well with the iron. But before we do that, just in case you were like mega unlucky, you only got like maybe one vein of iron or something, we're going to go through going into a cave that you guys are able to survive a little bit easier in there. Of course, I marked one up for myself. I haven't actually been into it far. I just know there's a cave here. Hopefully it's big enough for me to demonstrate everything that I need to. Things that you want, the bare minimum, in my opinion, is going to be torches. Obviously, you want to have a weapon available, pickaxe to get any of the ores that you're after, and food. Remember that food is our way of healing, so you want to have full health to make sure that if you're taking damage, you are able to recover that health as you need to. So once you have all of your preparations complete, we can go on into the cave. And as you're going down, of course, you want to put torches down. Now, remember, as I said before, I like to make sure that if I'm going to put one on a wall, it's on the right-hand side, so that when I want to get out, all I need to do is make sure that the torches are on the left-hand side, and I should be heading towards the exit. So we're just going to head on in, head on in, head on in. All right, so be a bit careful when you see drop-offs like this. I am not a fan of not being able to get back out. So a good thing that you can do, which is what I usually do, is to bring extra ladders across. So that if you do end up with something like this, you can just create a set of ladders that come up. But if you don't have that, so we'll make that kind of assumption now, we're just going to make steps down instead. In this case, because it's like a flat facing wall, I'm going to make like alternating staircases so that we can get up and down nice and easy if we want to come back down here later. We're obviously not going to be because I'm going to find a different home later on. But for now, I want to come on in. And as you can see, iron ends up being pretty common in caves. I don't know if there's a specific percentage change. I know there are some blocks that are less likely to appear on what are called like air blocks. So you do need to kind of just bear that in mind as you're going through. Looks like we're going to have lava down there as well. It's definitely a light of some kind. So we're going to knock this iron down, and hopefully it'll be safe enough to recover that in a second. It's taking us all the way down to deep slate. That's actually going to be deeper than our strip mine was. You see here, look, this is stuff that you need to be careful of. If something interrupts this, that can all drop on you, and yeah, it can do some damage. So just be careful of stuff like that. All right, so here we have a creeper. So I can demonstrate now if we have a creeper near us, just crouch, and we're actually pretty safe. Not as much of an issue as they once were, right? And the same is going to be said for the skeleton that we can see just ahead. And so now, the only real thing that we need to worry about is things sneaking up on us from the side or behind. There we have a slime. That's actually pretty useful because we can make a lead out of that. Spiders will also be more aggressive in here, so just be aware of that. I can't actually get down here. That's good. We'll leave that there then. Want to get the iron. That's what we're here for. Slimes are pretty glorious for the XP, but we're not really going to be using that right now, so we're not really too worried about them. So you can see here we've got tons of enemies. We can use them against each other now as well, so we can have Creeper go off next to the skeleton, look, that can go ahead and deal with its friend. Or if it's a massive group like this, they are spawning because of how dark it is in here. If we run around and get a load of torches out, and they get far enough away that they despawn, we should be able to reduce the numbers, basically, is what we're going to try and do here. Let's get some healing done. Let's go take a look. Did I manage to pin them down? There we are. Way less in here now, look. So we're all good. I'm going to go ahead and try and just light this up a bit more. Let's deal with you. Damn it. I wanted to defeat that. Where's this archer at? There you are. Of course, there are other things as well. So with an archer, if one's in an annoying spot, if you go ahead and put a block up so that it can't shoot you, it'll actually come towards you. And we can actually get the zombie to attack the skeleton for us. If we don't damage the zombie ourselves and allow the skeleton to do it, they'll actually go ahead and fight, which is quite useful. So as you can see, with a shield and just a little bit of armor, exploring in the caves is significantly nicer. And you can see on my screen now, there's just iron everywhere. I'm just making sure that we're not going to have enemies spawning all over us as we try mining it out. We don't want any sneaky creepers coming along, right? So let's just make it so that it's not too bad in here. Got another skeleton there, look. Oh, hello. You're dangerous. Oh my god. When the inevitable happens and you do actually die, try not to rage quit. I'm okay. I'm all good. There's not too much of like mega high value down there anyways, but we are going to go and try and get the armor back. Now, some of the mobs may well be carrying my stuff. Hopefully they don't despawn, and there is a bit of an issue where all of your loot that's on the ground will despawn over time. There's some kind of like tick mechanic that goes on, which means that it'll kind of happen over a short amount of time, but luckily the cave's pretty close and it should already be fairly well lit, and most of the mobs should despawn apart from the ones that have basically taken our loot. Now, we got unlucky there because basically that zombie had an enchanted sword. I don't know what the enchantment was on it, but it obviously did a hell of a lot more damage than we were used to or expecting in here. Now, I don't have a pickaxe with me because I just want to get in and get my stuff realistically. So hopefully I can get away with that. It was only just over here. Let's see where all my stuff is already. And it looks like, unfortunately, whichever mob took my stuff probably has despawned. So I don't actually have my armor now, which is unfortunate. But it's fine. We're in a place where we can go ahead and we can get all of that back anyway, iron-wise. Now, what I like to do generally, if I'm going to go into my inventory, there's a hole up there. Look, I'm going to make sure that's lit up. Don't want anything spawning on me while I do this. I like to crouch while I'm in my inventory just in case something does come that I'm not seeing at the time. And now we're going to go ahead, being as there's less enemies, we're going to go ahead, we're going to mine everything out. The smart thing to do realistically there would have been to run away when I saw the enchanted sword. I knew it was going to do damage, but it's all good. Oh, and this cave is huge. So as you can see, when you've got a cave this big, you know that you're just going to get all of the different resources you could possibly want. I can already see there's more iron down there. So, you know, this is quite a... what's the word? Quite a bountiful area to get some loot. But I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more iron, just replace what we had, maybe come out with a bit of extra so that we've profited. And that should introduce you to getting your iron and, in general, surviving in the caves. Now, there is one enemy that I would have liked to have seen, which is an Enderman, because they're pretty dangerous. And I would like to have given you guys, you know, just a bit of a tutorial on them. But I guess that's just not the case. Tons of iron everywhere. Look, we've got plenty. So if you want a target number, if you have 30 to 40 iron, you should be comfortable for the next several episodes. If you get a full stack, 64, as long as you don't go crazy and waste it all, that's going to last quite a while. And by the time I've used up like 1 stack's worth of iron, I fully intend for us to have an infinite iron farm anyway, so we won't actually have to come into caves to get any more iron after that point. So just it'll get a little bit more. Now, of course, there are other resources in here. Lapis is pretty good. We don't really need it right now because this is for enchanting later on. So when you are able to start using your levels properly, this is actually kind of nice to have. But basically, most of the ores up on this level that we're in right now should be mineable with the pickaxe that we have, the stone one. We don't have an iron pickaxe right now, which is all good, but you will have enough iron to create your iron pickaxe by the end of this. So I'm just gonna get all these resources I can see, because there's so much and I can't stand to leave it behind, so I'm just gonna skip forward a little bit. All right, so 59 iron. So even though I lost chestplate and shield, we should end up being pretty good there. And that's gonna cost like 9 to 10 irons. That's like almost nothing really. Some coal on my way out apparently. Maybe we'll grab this. And I'm gonna make my way back up my staircase so that we can head back over to the dugout where we're gonna get the rest of this all smelted. So I'm going to pop these in here. Maybe we'll do like 50% of each one, like this. I'm going to get some more trees chopped down so that we're nice and prepared for the next episode, which is going to be basically exploring the overworld. Now that we are able to create ourselves a full set of armor and all of the basic tools that we need to start creating some interesting stuff, I'm going to go and take us to a spot that I have found where I'm going to create my kind of empire, you might say. I've got like several little settlements I want to build that I'm going to show you guys as we go through. So I hope you are enjoying the little mini series, and I'll catch you all again very shortly.